Welcome to the Faith and Happiness Playground. I am your host, Elle Edwards, mental health champion, positive psychology geek, and founder of the Faith and Happiness Playground. I'm here with Bible-friendly happiness coaching to help you be youier. Youier? You being the person that God made you to be, fully self-expressed, full to the top with God's love. It's Christian personal development. It's helping you be more of the person you were made to be so that you can smile more and go out there and impact the world in a really wonderful way whilst you're thriving. The two aren't mutually exclusive. I want you to be happy, and then my ulterior motive is that you be happy and help other people be more loved by Jesus. That's the behind the scenes why in all of this. But in this episode of the podcast, I have another quick story for you. Now, this story is about the podcast episodes that never were. Because the way that this works, in order to help me not go completely insane, or more insane than I already am, I can hear my family whispering that one. I like to batch record these. I record usually 3 or 4 episodes at a time, and then they go off for the production piece of it. And you might be watching or listening to this in any number of different places, and so obviously, as you can imagine, to have it go out in all those different places, it takes a little bit of tweaking, and it's quite a good process, actually. I mean, don't be too impressed. The tech is really clever these days, but it doesn't just like magically record and then go off and magically happen. There actually has to be a little bit of work before it. And so there is a bit of planning that's involved with that. So ideally, ordinarily, I like to have the podcast episodes for a week prepared, recorded the week before at least. Sometimes there's a bit of scrambling on a Saturday afternoon to finish the production work, but generally speaking, it works quite smoothly. However, the episodes for this week, the episodes you've had this week, let's just say they're not the episodes that were recorded. There are 3 episodes of the podcast, which we are going to call the unreleased episodes of the podcast. Maybe they'll see light of day at some point. They were all about stop doing lists. I shall just say that in case you're wondering and you're curious, and the content is valid. And I seem to remember last week, I did make reference to stop doing lists. And I promised you an episode on stop doing lists. So maybe it's of benefit to at least mention them in passing. But I recorded those episodes, and then I went to a busy weekend, and the production piece didn't quite get finished and ready. And then it sort of happened, but there was something holding me back. And then we had Tuesday. And if you watched the Facebook Live I did on Tuesday, you'll have heard me putting my flag in the ground, my stake in the ground, my flag in the sand. Stake in the sand, flag in the ground. Whatever the metaphor is, God told me on Monday night and empowered me to do this work. He said, I'm calling you to do this faith and happiness work. And I kind of knew that, but there's a difference between kind of knowing it in our heads and really knowing it here. And Monday night was a really powerful conversation. I was like, okay. And so when that happens, you kind of want to step forward and really do that thing. And so all of a sudden, the podcast episodes that I'd already recorded, those 3, yes, they had helpful stuff in there, but they didn't feel quite right. And so instead, God was going, well, tell stories. And so the last 3 episodes have all been stories, little things that happen. And I think there's an actual reason for that, because one of my gifts, I guess is the right word for it, one of the things that comes very, very easily to me is I go throughout the day, and then something happens and I can see God in that happening. Or something happens and I can see an example that will help make your day more delightful, even if I can't say it. And it's easy for me to see those magical, marvelous, delightful moments in day-to-day life. And the benefit of then obviously telling these stories is we take those moments. I share those moments with you. And it's really a case of leading by example. So ideally, you hear and see me doing this stuff, and then you go, oh, I could have a little go at that too. It's the whole silver lining spotting thing. I've told you before, the way to be a silver lining spotter is to practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Thanks to the reticular activating system at the back of your brain. No, I'm not going to go into that now in case you're a long-time listener going, oh, Elle, not again. It's one of my favorite topics ever. My point, though, is this. The podcast episodes didn't fit, and so God said, right, create new. And it reminded me of 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone. The new is here. Now, I was reminded of that verse because at my friend's baptism, after they dunked her under the water and then she came back up again, we all sang the song, I Am a New Creation, which, no, I'm not going to sing for you. Because I actually really enjoy singing, but I like singing with like other instruments and stuff. And I'm pretty confident, but I'm not confident enough to sing I Am a New Creation at full blast. live for you. So if you don't know that song, Google it. Google I Am a New Creation song, and you'll probably hear it. Or if I remember, I'll put a link to it underneath this. But having heard that on Sunday, and then the way the podcast unfolded, it was like, ooh, it was another example of God leading and guiding and bringing all these things together. Now, it's quite interesting because I've come across that verse before. And you think of about being a new creation, and the reason why that song is sung at baptisms, for example, we're talking about that moment when somebody actually comes to know Jesus. And we think, okay, they're this new person. But actually, we are becoming new people day by day. We are becoming more like Jesus moment by moment. So me suddenly getting that like, oh, okay, this is what God is calling me to do. And okay, I'm going to step forward. I'm going to do this. That was a new creation moment. It will, I suspect, be one of those, I've written it in my line a day journal already. I suspect with hindsight, I'll look back on that moment and go, ooh, as it being a key moment. And so I want to encourage you as well, whether you feel like you've had one of those key moments recently, or if you just feel like you're plodding on, you are still a new creation in Jesus. And we can become more and more like Jesus, moment by moment, day by day. And it really does hark back to what we talked about in the previous episode, where we talked about the fact that God is going alongside us. You're never on your own. And actually, quite candidly, that's a bit of a daunting thought sometimes. Because I don't know about you, but there's times when actually it'd be okay. I'd be quite happy if God just sort of looked away a little bit. You know, when I was being grumpy about the wood shavings, if you don't know what that's about, you'll have to listen to 2 episodes ago. But, you know, there's times when it'd be quite nice, actually, if God didn't see everything and hear everything and be involved in all of everything. But that's not the kind of God that we are loved on. God is there all of the time. And so moment by moment, he can be there helping you become more and more like Jesus, full to the top with his love, that wonderful, delightful example of what it means to be his. So full to the top with love. It's just exciting. So my reminder for you, it is a brand new day. Whatever is the old is gone, as they say. Did it say that in that verse? Yes, the old has gone. I knew I'd heard it somewhere before. The old has gone. The new is here. It is a brand new day. You can step forward into this brand new day. God helping you. You don't have to do it on your own. And be that person that God has empowered you to be. Be you here. And of course, if you are following along with this and you are somebody for whom this feels exciting, I would invite you to come and join us. faithandhappinessplayground.com/join. It's £30 a month. You don't have to stay forever. You can come and join us for a few months. Be encouraged, be enriched, be you here. It's you here by design. We go through life and it can be a bit accidental and sort of plodding along. And I'm actually here to empower you to get really conscious about who it is that God is calling you to be. So you can go out there. There's 2 parts to it. I love making people smile. So I want you to be happier. I want you to thrive. But my ulterior motive, as I've said to you before, is I also then want you to thrive so you can go out there and be that light for other people as well. And of course, if you're watching this and you like this, but it doesn't feel like a good fit, please, I'd ask you, do me a favor, could you share it with somebody? Because I don't know who I don't know yet. And God has got big plans for this place and it needs your help. That's my personal thank you. Well, my thank you, and God thanks you as well. That feels a bit presumptuous, but I think we're probably on quite safe ground there. Anyway, be encouraged. Today is a brand new day. Between you and God have got this. Thank you for being here as ever. I shall be back very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.